a webinar on the OSD CEN member commenting. The OSD project team will provide you with the presentation today. My name is Elsa and I'm moderating the webinar in the background. So just for you to know that you're all muted by default, you're not able to talk out loud, but you have the Q&A panel to submit your questions. So should you have questions, please use that panel to ask. So the presenters will have a look at your questions. Should your question remain unreplied after the presentation, we intend to make a Q&A report available. The webinar has been recorded as well, so you will be informed about the link to the recording as soon as possible. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to my colleagues. The floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Els, and good morning, everybody. I'm going to start by introducing myself. I'm Estelle Baumard, and I'm managing the OSD project for CEN and CENELEC. I suspect I exchanged with some of you via email, so now it's a good opportunity for you to meet me. And today I wanted to start by introducing as well the different people that are a part of the OSD project team. Because when you will ask your questions or when you will go into the process of the OSD, you might get answer from these people. So with me today, I have Dorothée, who is our analyst, and she will perform Dorothée Stadler, and she will perform the demo of the tool today. And we have also our two production colleagues, so Gonzalo Asensao and Sébastien Simon, who are often the one answering to you when you have questions related to the production, so the standards drafting process within the OSD. And so on the next slide, here is the agenda. So today it will be in 4 parts. First, I will detail what is member commenting in OSD. Then we will show you how to use the module, how to do your inquiry in OSD with 2 options. Then we will remind you exactly who can do what are the different accesses, because it's something really important when it comes to the OSD tool. And finally, before the Q&A, we will talk to you about the support. So first, I will start by reminding you what is the OSD. So OSD is a platform where you can do basically all your standards drafting process, and it's aiming to replace Word. But it's not only about drafting the text. It's really about all working together all along the standards life cycle within the same tool. So in OSD, you have features for the drafting stage within the working group, and it's referred to collaborative authoring. You also have the possibility on the right down part of the screen to do the CCMC internal editing. So once the document is ready and submitted, we have a cycle with our editors that are editing the document directly in OSD. And then you have also the possibility to do the commenting process and the comment resolution process for inquiry and formal vote in OSD. And so the commenting process for inquiry and formal vote in OSD is called the member commenting. And so on the next slide, what is member commenting in OSD? To repeat a bit myself, so it's the OSD tool module used by National Mirror Committee to submit their official national comments during inquiry and formal vote directly in OSD. So it's the commenting part of the inquiry and formal vote. And the scope of today's session is the inquiry only for project drafted in OSD. So not for all project, only for project drafted in OSD. So this concludes what is the member commenting. And I will leave the floor to Dorothée to explain to you, okay, how it's going to work, how you're going to do your inquiry in OSD.
Estelle, before you hand over, there is a question from Robert that would be probably good to answer right now. Can you explain how and when one can get to this environment?
I'm not sure I understand really the question. I don't know if it refers to how to access during member commenting or OSD in general.
So let me maybe try and answer how I think that OSD in general, I guess.
Yes.
So do you want to take that question, Estelle?
Yes. So to access the OSD, it means that your working group has been registered in OSD for their work item. So to request to create your document in OSD, you have on the OSD webpage on the CEN expert site a registration form where you can ask to register your project in OSD. Once the project is created in OSD, the Secretariat will share with all experts the link to the document, and you will see later on, if you are part of a national mirror committee going through Enquiry in OSD, you will also get the link to the document in the ballot. So if you're a member, if you're a secretariat or a member of a national mirror committee, then you will receive the link to the document.
So basically, it turns out that it's either the work item is set up in OSD, and then automatically everyone will use the member commenting tool. And if it's not registered in OSD, then this will not be used, and we go the traditional route through the ballot and the providing of comments in the commenting template. All right, so let's go to member commenting and what options you have. And I just want to make sure that you understand that this is in full alignment with ISO. So we're not doing anything different than ISO. ISO provides the exact same way of working. So that should ease it if you're already part of a TC or that goes through an inquiry, or rather a DIS on the ISO side. So we are only talking about comments here, and you can provide comments in two ways. The first option is option A, is you can actually use OSD to gather the comments from your national committee. And that's what Estelle was referring to. If you have national mirror committees registered, then you can have the experts of these national committees directly enter their comments into the OSD. However, there's a technical requirement to be able to do this, that in the global directory, you have created the NMCs and you have mapped them to the corresponding CEN committee in which the ballot is being held. The second option is to just gather the comments outside of OSD and import them into the OSD, or even enter them manually. And I will go into a lot of detail about both of those options and show you exactly how this is done. Please note that on a single ballot, you can actually combine those options. You don't have to make a choice. You can either say, all right, I'll do some option B, a little bit of option A, or only option A or only option B, and you can change your mind during the ballot, so that you're not locked into something before you start the inquiry. So what we understand the process for determining your national position and your comments without the OSD, so in a traditional way, is that the people that are registered in the global directory as voters for a CEN ballot, those in some fashion determine the national position. They will have to, vote, agree, and disagree. And in the CEN inquiry balloting system, they will vote and at the same time submit comments using the commenting template. So this is the process that you are used to from our perspective. Now, obviously, in the background, there's stuff happening, right? How do you actually determine your national position? So you might actually go and talk to some national committee members. Maybe you have mirror committees that are set up in the GD or not. So you actually know who these people are, and you go and consult them and say, look, here is a text. Can you please give us some feedback, whether you do that by email, over meetings? If you have a national system that does this, there's obviously multiple options for you. And then those national committee members, maybe they'll actually go and consult with their colleagues or some other national experts, which you actually don't know who these people are, right? Again, this is informal consultations. You may have a system set up, you may do it over email or through meetings or whatever. You don't know, but this is happening, right? People will ask their colleagues. And then what you also obviously have is the public inquiry. You go and ask the general public, right? What do you think? And again, it depends on the member. whether this goes through a national mirror committee first or it goes directly to the voter. But there is some feedback that you receive from the general public. And again, those people, you actually don't know who they are. So this is the basis of what we think is happening when you have to determine your national position on any given ballot. Now, if we are now looking at what happens if you use option A, so what you still need to do, of course, is determine your national position. You're the voter. You need to know, first of all, what vote are you gonna cast, but also the comments that you're going to want to submit. So here with OSD, it changes slightly. So you'll still go in the CEN Enquiry ballot to vote. However, the comments won't be submitted through the commenting template, but those comments will be entered into the OSD. Now, if you have National Mirror Committee set up in the GD, you'll actually ask your National Committee members to go directly into the OSD and enter their comments. So then you'll have a single place where all the comments are. And this, and only this, is the scope of the CEN member commenting. Whatever you do to consult other people that we don't know who they are, or your public inquiry where you go and talk to the general public, this is not in the scope of the CEN OSD member commenting. So we are only talking about people that we know that are registered in the global directory in some fashion. So what happens when you have a ballot that uses OSD? The ballot looks exactly the same. However, you'll actually have a link here that says access online document, and clicking on that will open the OSD and allow you to do comments. People have, based on their role in the GD, which Estelle is going to talk about at the end of this presentation, people have various different rights in terms of voting, or rather not voting, providing comments. So there is a certain life cycle to these OSD comments. So any comment that any experts enter into the OSD, and even yourself as a voter, if you enter a comment, at first it will be purely national, and it's not visible to anyone outside of the NSB. So if you have different experts commenting on the text, they will see each other's comments, which makes sense, right? So that you don't have the same comment over and over and over again from different people. But you, of course, have control over that. You don't want to say that anything that any experts just enters is just going to submit it as your official comment. And therefore, the cycle goes that the comment is first a national comment, and then as a voter or a national committee leader, which is also considered a voter in the OSD, just in terms of being able to manage comments, you need to review each of the comments that are inside the OSD. If you need to edit them, reposition them in the text, and decide on what you want to do with this comment. You can either say, okay, this is good, I'm happy with this one, I want to share this to CEN and the Secretariat as my official national comment. And so you make national, is what we call it. You make this comment your official national comment, or you can decide, no, this comment is maybe redundant, not accurate, we don't want it, and you can say we will not share it as an official national comment. So once you've done that with all of the comments that are entered, you then now have a set of official national position comments that are shared at the European level, and that will be visible when the ballot closes. So before the ballot closes, other NSBs, no one will be able to see what comments you have entered, because you can still, even if you already made them national, you can still edit them afterwards. So it's only at the close of the ballot that these comments will be visible to CCMC and also visible to the Secretariat and other members. So these are obviously automatically linked to the ballot because there's a link between the ballot and the OSD document. So then first determine all of your comments. When you're finished with that, go into the Enquiry ballot and cast your vote, and then you're good. It has been brought to our attention that you may actually not want your experts to provide comments all the way until the end of the ballot closure, because as a voter, you still need time, right, to review these comments, make sure you're all happy with that. And therefore, there is the option to pause commenting. So that means that when you click this option, then your national experts aren't able to cast votes anymore. They can still see what they had done or what other people have said, but they will not be able to add new comments. So this gives you a little bit of control. Maybe 2 weeks before the ballot closure, for example, you could say, I'm pausing commenting now so that I have enough time to review my comments. In your role as a voter, you can still add comments and you can still resolve comments, of course. Otherwise, that would make no sense. So the pause commenting is really for your national experts so that you have a little bit of control about what happens there. So I'm now going to go into a demo. Before I do that, I have just seen that there's lots of questions, and I'm just going to see if there are any questions that I should maybe answer right now. So Sebastian is asking the NSB to manage their national comments. I guess we are talking about the secretariat mandated by the NSB. Yes and no. I'm not sure if it's the secretariat, but it's those people that have been assigned as the role of voter for the inquiry in the GD. How do we proceed when there is a parallel vote between ISO and CEN? So right now, this is a feature that is being developed. And Gonzalo, I think, is already typing an answer and give you a little bit more details here.
Dorothée, I'm reviewing the question as well, and I think there is only one relevant for us at the moment is how OSD handle the French and the German version of the project. So here, the scope of this is for the English document, but we will still provide the German and the French translation in the ballot in PDF.
Yes, it remains unchanged. So the zip files are still attached to the ballot for the French and German version, if we do have them on time, that is. And then they are added whether should they be coming late, but during still the ballot opening time frame.
And you can proceed, Dorothée.
Very good. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. No, didn't want to do that. Wanted to do that. All right. So before we start, please excuse me. I'm using the ISO training environment for doing this because it's set up in a way that I can easily show you. But this again just shows that it's the same for ISO and for CEN. So for CEN, it will look the same. It will just not have the ISO banner because this is typically the inside ISO projects, and some of you may recognize that. So I apologize for the ISO logo here, but rest assured, it's the same as for others. So this is the screen that you get to when you click on the link from the ballot to the OSD document. You'll see is that it has sort of 3 sections. The left-hand section here is the outline, where you can see all of the different sections in the document, and you can also quickly and easily navigate to each of the sections. For people who have a smaller screen, you can, of course, hide the outline so that it's not in your way. Then here on the on the right-hand side, you have 3 tabs. One is the overview tab, which lets you easily navigate to tables, figures, formulas, or footnotes. And since I don't have any, it doesn't show. You have comments to resolve, which I'll show in a minute. And you can also do a search in the document if you're looking for something in particular. So now when you get into the OSD, the first thing I'm going to show you is how do you actually add a comment. So let's say you are reading through the document and you're thinking, oh, okay, there is probably something wrong here. Maybe here I want to comment that we should add the plural as well. And please, this is I'm very sorry. This is linked to my training environment. This message would not appear for you. So please apologize. I apologize for that. So here you see I've selected the word that I want to make a comment on. I can then decide whether this is a technical or a general or an editorial comment. You can type in your comment here. And if it's something that you're suggesting we could add, you can even click on propose a change and say that actually maybe this should be countries instead of just country, for example. And then you save, and you can see that first of all, you see while you scroll through the text, you see where there are comments because they are highlighted. But also here on the right-hand side, you can see these little bubbles that show the comment in its detail. I hope Christina Rebensdorf is not on the call. I apologize for using her name. This is a test environment, so I had to use an existing user. We are here in the context. I'm pretending I'm Christina from Sweden, from SIS, and they are using option A. So some of the experts have already added some comments. So typically you can see that Tom here has added a comment, and by using these little arrows, you can actually work your way through each and every single one of the comments. So you can see that those that I added, it will say you, so I added this, but you can also obviously see who else provided any comments. And you can see that these are currently what we call unmanaged. So those are just comments that people entered here. And if you remember, to be able to make them visible to CEN, CENELEC, and also to the Secretariat at the close of ballot, each and every one of these comments, you need to decide what you want to do about it. So let's just take the example of Tom's comment here. He is selecting this text, and you have several large geographical regions, and he says this should not be in italics. Now you need to decide what you want to do about it. It may be that other experts have actually already voted and said, no, I don't support this. So you may see that, I don't know, 25 people don't support this and 10 people support it. So again, this is something where experts don't have to enter the same comment multiple times. They can just vote and say, yes, I agree, I have the same comment, I do not agree, or I don't support this comment, etc. And you can, of course, also make a reply if you want a little discussion before you actually do something about it. But let's pretend that this comment makes total sense. All you need to do is click on manage, and it will ask you what you want to do with it. Do you want to submit this as a national comment? And if you had any tags or replies or anything, those would be removed. Or you do not want to submit them as national comments, and then we would ask you to write a small motivation so that in the end people can see what happened to their comment, and you can also remember why you did that. So let's pretend this one makes total sense. This really shouldn't be in italics. You can submit this as a national comment and validate the decision. If you look carefully, you'll see that two things happened here. First thing, the text here isn't highlighted anymore. And also you can see that the comment isn't visible here anymore. And this is because by default, we filter the comments only by those that you still have to address. So as you can see, there's a little filter button here. So if you click on that, you can filter the comments by many, many different criteria. And if I wanted to see all of those that I have managed and maybe submitted as national, or not submitted as national, then I can just add this filter. So if I do now just say I want to see those that aren't managed, so those that I still have to deal with, and those that I have managed and submitted, I just select this from the filter, I set the filter, and you can see that the comment is here again. Now, you can also see that I have the same comment twice now. So this is the original comment, which you can see says submitted as national. And this here is the official national comment. And also what happened is that when this was first entered, it says it was entered by Tom. As soon as you submit it as a national, it will actually show to be submitted by Sweden, which I'm representing in this example. So this is actually the reason why we have it twice is that if you had any replies or discussions on this comment, you still see the original, you don't lose the information, but you can then see very easily, because they're in green, which ones are national and which ones aren't. And you still have the option, of course, to edit this document. You can still discard it, you can remove it, you can move it somewhere else. So don't worry about making things national. You can always go, until the ballot closes, you can always go back and change your mind, either don't submit it or edit it in some fashion. So that it's quite safe in that regard. So let me just get rid of this filter again. So if I'm going through the next, so this is the one that I just entered, but let's just go through this next comment. Tom here said that we shouldn't confuse the continent and the European Union, which actually, who would? This is really not a comment that I think is good. I go into manage, I say, don't submit this as national, and say, don't see why this would be confusing. And then I validate that decision. Again, the comment disappears, and I can, of course, find it again if I say, tell me those that I didn't submit. You can see that if I filter this, it says very clearly this has not been submitted as national. You will see the reply, which is, I don't see why this would be confusing. You don't have a second one, which would be green, because we did not make it national. So you can always do that. Now, Tom had added a third comment here, where he says some people think Zurich is the capital of Switzerland, but it's not. So you may say, yeah, all right, maybe. Yeah, maybe he's right here. If you go into manage and say, okay, I think I want to add this as a national comment, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I don't want to validate my decision. I can just save this as a proposed decision, because maybe you want to discuss it with some of your colleagues first. So if I save this as a proposed decision, again, it disappears because you've dealt with it in some fashion. But you can, of course, find it again and look at the proposed ones. And here it is again. So you can see that you proposed the decision to submit as national, but it has not yet been submitted as national. So you can do this just to keep track of, maybe these ones I'm not sure, I may want to talk to someone about it. You can easily find them with the filter. And once you've decided, all right, yeah, no, we've discussed it, actually, we should really submit this as a national comment, you validate the decision, and off it goes. So if I've validated this decision and I set my filters, you will see that Sweden is now officially commenting that people think Zurich is the capital of Switzerland. So this was all about what you do with the comments that you've received from your experts. Again, I can only repeat myself 150,000 times. You need to make sure that every single comment you have dealt with in some fashion and made it national. If you do not make it national, the comment will not be submitted at the end of the ballot, and the comment will not be taken into account. So it's very, very important that you do this. And also to help you in this, you have the comments to resolve tab, where it only shows those comments that you have not yet dealt with. So you can also use this, and you can even resolve multiple comments at the same time, and select a decision. Okay, I want to submit this as national, and maybe you want to describe why you're doing it or not. So if you have more than one comment here, and yeah, I want them all, you'll just select all or select individual ones, submit them as national or not submit them as national. So you can do a bulk make national, let's say. One last thing on this that I wanted to show is you as a voter that go into the system, if you add a comment yourself, should be lowercase. I'm making this up as I go. You see that you have an option here to make national. So if I just submit it like this, it goes into a draft sort of state that you still have to review and make national. But I'm assuming that most of the time when you go in and want to add and you add a comment, you already know that this is going to be your national comment. So by just clicking on make national and save, this will automatically be submitted as a national comment. And again, you can see I don't have two because you didn't first enter a private comment, let's say, and then made it national. You immediately made it national. So you don't, if you enter manually some comments that you've received, you can immediately make them national when you enter them.
And Dorothée, as I think you are at the end of the presentation of this option, I selected a couple of questions for you.
Yes.
So let me go. So first, I think it's a precision on, it's being more precise about what you mentioned earlier. Hélène is wondering, in the ballot, we can see if they can see, in the present ballot, we cannot see the comment from other NSB until the ballot is closed. Here, apparently we said that we can see the comments from other, but maybe to correct, in OSD, you can only see comments from your NSB and the one that you made national. And it's not possible to see, once your comments are made national, to see comments from other NSBs.
Yes. So I may have either misspoken or not been very clear. While the ballot is open, these OSD documents, they're siloed. You can only see your own from your own NSB. You do not see comments from other NSBs. What I meant by others, it means that if you have a National Mirror Committee mapped to it, you may have experts who enter comments, and all of those experts can see each other's comments. You're inside the same NSB. Also, if you are maybe more than one voter, maybe you're a team of people who are typically doing these things. Also, inside your NSB, everyone can see the comments, but no one outside of your NSB and not CEN Senelec can see these comments.
Thank you. The second question from Silvio, is there information indication that there are still unrated comments that have not been yet processed? Or can I accidentally overlook national comments here as a voter? Can I finalize my national vote comments if there are comments still unresolved? And I think it's with the option comments to resolve that you just shown, right?
Exactly. So there's two ways of doing it. It's either you can use the filters and just say, I want to see that those that are unmanaged and proposed, right? Because proposed is also not yet fully submitted. So it's either you go through here and set the filters, and then you can just click through, or you go into the comments to resolve tab, which will show you all of those comments that you have not dealt with yet.
Next question I had is so I know we mentioned the posing comments thing in the presentation, and the person would like to see it live if it's possible.
So if we have time at the very end, then I can do this. If
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, I can actually do it right now. If I click on pause commenting, the document refreshes. That's normal. It has to apply the new permissions. So for you as a voter, nothing changes. You can still go here and add a comment if you like. This is only for those people who are national experts and are only supposed to vote. So sorry. Those people that are only supposed to add comments. In your role as a voter, pause commenting will not change anything because you still need to potentially add a comment. You still need to be able to resolve comments. So nothing really changes for you as a voter. And you can always go and resume commenting whenever you feel like it, to allow people to still add their comments. So what would happen for someone who logs in and has a role of contributor who's only supposed to make comments, he will just not have, when he selects some text, he will not have the option to add comment. And also here, he will not be able to add a comment.
Thank you. And the last question we will try to answer maybe at the end to others or later on with the report. But is there a possibility to collect all comments national in a document to inform other people of the comments given?
So in the other actions menu, you have in the comments button here, you can export the comments. All the comments or just those that you've made national. So if you do that, it will give you a report that you can then share with people who are not part of the OSD. So if I do export all comments,
then you get your export.
yes, then I get my export and I will just save it here. Sorry, I just need to apologize. I need to get out of presenter mode. No, sorry.
Don't worry. I think if
I'm sorry.
it's
Yeah,
downloaded,
I've got it
I'm
here.
sure
There
you
we
have
go.
the show.
There we go.
Okay.
So what you get when you export all the comments, basically you have an Excel report which has 3 tabs. It has the unresolved comments that say who did it, when did they do it, etc. You have those comments that you've made national, and you have those comments that have been rejected. So you have this that you can then share with people. And I just wanted to answer very quickly the question. Oh, what did I do? What did I do? I think I just logged myself out. So I'm sorry about that. I need to log myself back in. I apologize. I've got
No
too
worries.
many windows open. So let's be Christina again. Apologies. So there was a question that I would just very quickly like to answer. Someone just asked, what is this little gray number here? The little gray number is a unique number for each comment. Every time you enter a comment, it gets a number. And this is purely informational. It's just that if you want to talk to people about the comment file or the commenting, you can say, oh, okay, let's look at comment number 16, for example, much easier. So this is just for information and for reference.
Then I think we can see at the end if we have time to take questions
Okay.
and go to the second option.
Yes. So I apologize. I just need to find it again. Here it is. Right. So what I've shown you before was option A, and I hope that the benefits to the members are, let's say obvious and easy to understand. It actually helps you in your national commenting process because everyone is working on the same document. Everyone can see live, let's say, what other people are commenting. So hopefully you'll have much, much less duplicate comments, for example. You can, I think, also maybe facilitate some consensus building because let's say two people have opposing comments. So one says get rid of it, the other one says change it. You can actually use the voting system or the replies to discuss amongst experts what should be the national position. So you can use this also for consensus building. Consolidating the comments, I think, is going to be much easier, and obviously for the submission, it's then obviously easy. You don't have to go through my favorite tool, the comment collation tool, which I love so much. That you won't have to use because everything is in the OSD. Now, if you do not have your national committee set up in the global directory, and so your experts do not comment directly inside the OSD, this is what we call option B. You then, the scope of this is only determining the national position as a voter, submitting the comments in the OSD, and then casting your vote. The rest of the processes we've talked about are outside of the scope of the OSD of this option B, and hopefully when I show it to you, you will understand what I mean here. So, what is I think important for you when you go through this option is we don't want you to have to type in every single comment yourself, right? So we are giving you the option to import comments from a standard Word commenting template. So you can gather all of your comments, put them in a commenting file like you would have if you had a traditional ballot, and then you can upload them into the OSD. So when you do that, and I will show it to you in a minute, when you do that, even though in the first column you say this is Sweden, when you import it, it will show the comment as the user, or who it is always going to show you because you are the one actually uploading the comments here. The comments will be imported just as simple comments. Obviously, the comment type that we have in the fourth column here is mapped, so then it will be an editorial comment. But these comments are then linked to the title of the clause. So here, the clause is 4.2. So the comment is going to be attached to the title of that clause. So what you really should be doing when you do that is move the comment to the correct location so that the secretariat, when the ballot closes, they know exactly what you're talking about. So that's going to help them greatly in A, understanding your comments better, and B, to resolve them more quickly. So this is when the proposed change column here is empty. You, of course, have sometimes comments where there is an actual proposed change. The upload process is exactly the same. They're also imported as simple comments, but we add proposed change as a comment inside the text. And here it is really, really very important that you move the comment and you make it correct. So that the proposed change is actually recorded. So when you upload the comment from filed, if there are lines that are not valid, it will show you an error. It will say the import is disabled. If any row is invalid, it will show you, listen, this comment here, it's invalid because the clause number or label doesn't exist in the document. So you will have to correct your file first and then try and upload it again. So this is all theory. Obviously, it's much better to see this live So we're going to go back to our document, and let me just, I will just show you how you can delete a comment. I just want to, no, I did not want to do that, sorry. So this comment that I just entered, I decided, no, this is actually a stupid comment. I will not have it. With the 3 dots here, you can just remove it and then it's gone forever. So this was just to make my document clean a little bit for my demonstration. So if you go into other actions, you go into comments and you say load comments from file, it will ask you to choose a file. You can choose any file you want, and I'm going to start by showing you an error, which is obviously I made an obvious error in this document. It loads it. It says, no, can't disable it. You know, there is no clause 5.3, so your comment isn't valid. You need to correct it or choose a different file. You can, of course, also export this error report if you want to send it back to someone and say, hey, can you please correct this? You said 5.3, which one did you even mean? So you can export this report as well. Now, so I have an invalid file. I'll correct it and I'll choose a new file. This file has 2 comments only, one on clause 4.1 and one on clause 4.2. One has a proposed change and one doesn't. Both of them look very valid. That's great. I can import the valid rows, and I'll do that in a second. I just want to show you that you have the option here to submit all imported comments as national comments immediately. So you can do that, and then they will be imported immediately as your national comments that are visible at the end of the ballot. However, that does not mean that you don't have to move them to the correct location afterwards. So I'm not going to do that for now. I'm just going to import my valid rows. They've been successfully imported. Click here to close the window, which I'm doing. And I can now see that if I go through this document, I have a first comment in clause 4.1 and a second comment, in clause 4.2. So let's look at both of those comments here. As you can see, this is a comment that is linked to the title of the clause, so the word France. And the comment was that France is also not only renowned for champagne, is also renowned for champagne, not only wine. And we propose to change a sentence. If you submit this to the Secretariat, it's going to be a very difficult for them to know what you mean, because the comment is on the word France, and what are you talking about? So here, what you need to do, what you should really do, is first of all, move the comment. It shouldn't be on the word France. Where it should be is on this sentence here that says the country is also renowned for its wine and fine cuisine. Place my comment here. So now for the Secretariat to resolve, it's much clearer already. They know exactly where the comment should be. Now it does say proposed change here. You could leave it like that, but you could make it even better. And you can edit this comment. And instead of having the proposed change here, you can actually really propose a change. Oops, sorry, just get rid of that. Right, so here I have my comment that says it's also renowned for champagne, and here is how I suggest that we should change this sentence. So you'll see that here it shows you it's not dine cuisine, it's fine cuisine. There you go. So you can see that it will tell the Secretariat exactly what it is that you want to do, and then you save. So if you put yourself in the shoes of the person who has got to go through the comments afterwards and has to decide what to do, this is the easiest way for them to not misunderstand you and make sure that they know exactly where this is. So I think, okay, we all agree that France likes, has great champagne. We can therefore now manage the comment, submit this as a national comment, and validate the decision, and off we go. The second here is one where we're actually not providing any any proposed change. We're basically just saying that Swiss chocolates are, so they are not delicious. That's a funny word. Delicious. And considered the best in the world. Let me just save that. So I've edited it so it makes a bit more sense. And I'm thinking, well, okay, not sure what to do with that. Can I move it? Maybe I should move it to a place where it's a bit more relevant. It says here the chocolates are world famous. I'll place the comment here. And okay, so we should maybe add chocolates are delicious and considered the best in the world. Okay. Again, you could leave it like this, but maybe you want to be a bit more specific. Again, you can edit this comment and you can propose a change. You will see that the text that has been selected is already pre-filled in the proposed change. The chocolates are world famous and delicious. There you go. Save. So again, now anyone looking at this comment later will know exactly what you're talking about. They will see exactly what you suspect, what you suggest should be changed. Again, it's going to really ease the resolution of comments later on. Again, what did I say? Don't forget, this is still unmanaged, so you still need to manage it. Either, again, find it through the filter or go through the comments to resolve. And if I went through the comments to resolve, I can select this one. Just imagine in your mind that there are more than one that you think are good. You can select them all. So I'm taking this one here, saying, all right, I'll select the decision. I'll submit it as a national comment, and I validate my decision. And here we go. So when I said earlier that you don't have to choose which way you want to go, you always have the possibility to import comments, even if your national experts are mapped in the GD and have already provided comments. You can still always upload comments. You can also still yourself add a comment on something. So it's really, you can mix and match these things together in any way that makes the most sense for your NSB. And I believe that that was all I wanted to show on this one. Estelle, do you have some questions that you'd like me
Selected
to answer?
actually on the experts, sorry, not the experts, on the option B specifically, I have one question for you. Is there a filter to see all comments imported by the commenting template?
Yes, actually there is. So I think I already did. Sorry, I just need to select manage because I already submitted them all. There are, when you import a comment, it will get a tag that's called imported. So if you select this in the filter, you will see all of those that are imported. So this is always going to be there. As soon as you upload it, you will have this tag that you can use to filter.
Okay, thank you. And we have other questions, but that will be actually for later parts of the presentation, or that we can have a look at the end.
Very good. Then I shall go back into presenter mode. So we finished the demo, and I give the floor back to Estelle.
Yes. So this part is really important. Who can add comment? And there were already questions in the chat, because it's also, as Dorothée said, we are proposing the same technical option within the OSD than ISO. If at some point you have also to participate to DAS or FDAS in OSD at ISO level as well. But what is different is that we have a different standards drafting process, and therefore we have different roles in the GD. And as also Dorothée explained, it's really important because all accesses are automatically created in OSD based on the global directory. So you need to, often we receive support questions asking, oh, I can't access to this, what's happening? Often it's because you don't have the proper role, or 99% of the time is that you don't have the proper role in GD. So this slide is really important. And in theory, rules remain the same as the inquiry without OSD. So who can submit not national comment, who can submit comments within an NSB? You have the NNC rules mapped to CEN committee, so National Committee Observer and National Observer. Then who can have the OSD voter role, meaning the ability to manage comments within the OSD, to manage the comments from the National Mirror Committee in the OSD, and to make a comment national. Then you have the list here on the right side. So you have different types of voters for inquiry, because here we are in inquiry. And you have also national secretariat roles, because often it's them who are managing the comments. So this slide is really important because often issues happened because the people are not correctly registered within the GD. Then on the next slide, you can click to get all the animation. I think, yeah. Perfect. What are our next steps now? So member commenting module for inquiry as of now is available for all projects drafted in OSD. So it means that you will, it's not for all projects, it's really project drafted in the OSD. Currently, we have around 120 projects that being drafted in the OSD, and the number is keeping increasing as the OSD is available on request for certain type of deliverables. But more importantly, we have 8 projects that are expected to start between April and June 2024. You have the list there. But what happened is that when you will, if you're part of this CC, then when you will go into the ballot, you will find the link to the OSD instead of the usual process. And this training was for the inquiry, but we are currently working on implementing the 2 remaining steps of the process, the standards drafting process, so the formal vote and the publication stage, and it's expected mid-2025. So you can already consider that all these work items that will go through inquiry in OSD will also go through formal vote in OSD. Something I wanted to say also to reassure, you will not necessarily need an additional training if you're both a CEN voter or for inquiry or for formal vote. It's the same principle, it's the same module. The only thing that will change are the roles. Which role do you need in the GD to be able to access the document at formal vote? So we will, of course, always propose training and associated documentation and tutorials, but in principle, if you know how to do it during inquiry, if you have to do it at formal vote, it will be the same. Then the last slide is about support. Okay, now I got this training, what am I doing? What's happening? So on the expert side, and almost all of it is already available because we already did a pilot, so we already performed this training before. You will have the recording and the slides of the training sessions. It's already available, so you go to CEN Expert Site Training and Materials, and in template, user guide and template, you have CEN OSD, and you can find back all the relevant material. You will also find short video tutorials, because we don't expect you to go back through the recording and watch again 1 hour 30 of us talking. So the idea is that we are proposing 4 different type of tutorials. First, for voters, how to load comment from files, so it's the option B, how to make a comment national, how to post the commenting. And also an additional tutorial as a national contributor, how can I enter a national comment? We also received question about, are you organizing a training for national contributor, etc., if they want to use within the OSD? The answer is No, for two reasons. First, because it's only for experts that are mapped within the GD. So a lot of you will actually use the lot from 5. The other answer is that we don't need 1 hour to explain how to enter a comment. The short tutorial is sufficient. And the next support tool that you have is the ISO knowledge base that is actually directly available from the tool. And you have a complete page on how to get started with the member commenting, because it's really something important to say is that in theory, the modules are working the same way. There are also national contributor role, voter role in ISO OSD. So all the documentation apply to us. The only thing that is changing is the role that you need to get in the GD to have either the OSD voter role, either the OSD national contributor. So you can also use this material. If you have any questions, any specific needs, if you are struggling, also a question, if you are struggling at some point when you're doing your inquiry process within the OSD, you can contact production@censenelec.eu. That's already the contact, I guess, during inquiry, and that's remaining your contact point. But please, to facilitate the work, because it's a shared mailbox for the entire team, you can mention that it's OSD member commenting and the work item number in the subject of the email. So then it can be allocated fast to the relevant person in the team. So you have all of this available to support you, and we will also organize some reminders and some trainings, same trainings as today, later on, as we will have more and more inquiry going through the OSD. I believe that's it for the presentation.
I did see a few comments where, a few
Go ahead.
questions in the chat that I can maybe a little bit demonstrate again. So I'll just go back to the tool. I just need to find it again. So Nora was asking, can I show how to amend the text of the proposed comment? Sometimes the mirror committee agrees to the content in principle, but wants to propose a different wording for the text. How is this done? So I'll show you an example here. Let me say that here this text is not really what I want. So I select the sentence, I click on comment, and then I obviously need to first just say, what is my comment, please reword. But if as soon as I click on propose change, the text that I've selected becomes available here for editing. And so maybe this is actually, I don't want to be this precise. Maybe I just want to make this 44. Let's just stay reasonable. And it actually doesn't have 4.3. It has, I don't know, 7 billion inhabitants, for example, right? So you can see a preview, a little bit like track changes, where you can see what you're suggesting to change in the in the text, and you click save, and then you will, oh, sorry, I have the wrong filter. No, I don't have the right filter. Where did it go? Where did my comment go? Little comment, where are you? Little comment, where are you? Little comment disappeared. Little comment disappeared. I apologize about that. What did I do? I did something wrong, and I apologize. I have no idea what I did wrong to make it disappear, and I don't even. So it was here. It's gone. Okay, let's try this again. I apologize. Typical demo effect. Let's go comment, reword, propose a change, make this 44, make this 7 billion, save. And I have a superb bug in my system, which I apologize
Training
for.
environment, yes.
This is my training environment who is not happy with me right now. But I hope that that still answers your question.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, go ahead, Estelle.
I know it's just to give you a couple of other questions, if it's okay for you.
Yeah, but please go ahead.
Can you please show us a bit the functionality of manage comment top right corner to give graphs and of comments and their status, etc. How this functionality can be used in the right way.
I'm
wondering.
We actually, so the manage comments is something that you have when you are in during the process of drafting or even after at the comment resolution. As you can see, I don't have manage comments like I do for while I'm in a drafting mode.
Okay,
Is it,
and
we,
that's actually something I forgot to mention, but I wanted to mention when I see all the comments. Here we're talking about how to do the inquiry in OSD. There were plenty of questions, and for the second session, I will add this in the presentation on how do I submit, how do I create a document in OSD? How does it work? Is it mandatory? Is it not mandatory, etc.? So currently the tool is not default at European level, it's on request, and how to create a document in OSD and so on. We have actually dedicated session every month that are where you can register on the project page. So I will include the link to the project page in the presentation, where you can have a demo of the authoring features. And you can also know how to create your project in OSD. It's also written on the project page. So all the questions that are linked to how to create my project in OSD, how to draft the standards in OSD, and so on, we have dedicated monthly training and all the info on the OSD web CEN project page for you to be aware of. So I will add it. I have the link in the presentation, so I'm sure you can go there and register to an upcoming info session.
and maybe just to a follow-up question, I guess, from Björn about the managed comments. Why isn't it there for this stage? The reason it isn't there right now is because ISO has not implemented this. These comments here are not the same technically not the same type of comments that you have at your national level, but I will take a note of this and will discuss with ISO and see if this is a functionality that we may think would be helpful and useful in this comments. Victoria's asking, once your national comments are submitted, how are they stored on the platform? Do you need to export and store them yourselves, or is there a way to access them directly within the document? Once the ballot closes, they are stored. Your comments are stored within the document, and I don't believe that I'm unsure that you can then still export your internal national comments, right? You can always access after the ballot closes all of those that you've submitted as your national comment, but those that you haven't, the original ones, those you don't have. So I believe the best and safest way is to just make an export of those comments before the ballot closes. And I think there's multiple questions here that sort of go into the same direction about, oh, can we pause the commenting automatically, et cetera, et cetera. Some people say, like we have in the current system, please be aware that not everyone is using iSolutions and the national e-balloting, where you automatically have ballots that close, etc. So at this moment in time, there is no automated integration between the iSolutions e-balloting that you may be using and the OSD commenting. So yes, unfortunately, for every ballot that you are using in this way, you need to you need to go in and say, I want to pause the commenting now. There is no current way to automate it, but it is again something that I will write down and discuss with ISO on whether or not this is let's say a good option, or whether we can do something for those people who use the iSolutions presentation. And I think I don't remember who, but someone in the comments I saw said, "So we actually have to go through every single comment and make it national." Yes, you do. However, you can ease that. So if you are importing comments, you can automatically make them national on import. When you have your experts adding in the comments, then yes, you have to go through them all and say, yeah, this is national, this is not national. But please remember that you do have the comments to resolve tab here, where you can select multiple ones. And maybe I haven't really shown this, but if you just give me 1 second, I will just briefly, I have no idea why it won't. I wanted to, I don't want additional access. There we go. I'm sorry. I'm just going to edit my commenting file slightly, and okay, just edit my commenting file slightly so that I can upload it again. So if I go into comments and I load my comments from file, choose my file, Swedish comments. There we go. It has 2 valid rows. I'll import them, load them. It's just so that I have some comments that aren't resolved to show you, right? So if I go into comments to resolve, sorry, let me make this big again. Make this big again. There. If I go into comments to resolve, you can see I have all of these comments now. I have 4 comments here that I haven't made national yet. So if I've reviewed them, I've repositioned them, I'm happy with them, I can just either click here per clause, or I can just select them all. So then you see I have selected all of the comments. And then I can say, okay, all of those I want to submit as national and validate the decision, and then it's done. And there is surely an error because I did something wrong, and I apologize, but this does work. Sorry, I didn't how do you say, I didn't prepare for this type of demo. But anyways, so you can use this select all and resolve them like this, or as we've seen, when you upload the comments, make them national immediately.
And I think actually that was the question from Ulrich. So in the OSD at ISO, there was an option to make all national comments national at once. You can get an overview in a table directly in OSD. I think it's just what you just shown, Dorothée.
I think so, yes. We
There is
honestly
nothing different.
there is nothing different that I'm aware of. And again, here I am in the ISO environment. So this is not the CEN environment. This is the ISO environment you see, and we are making this training on an ISO DIS instead of a CEN Enquiry. So there is no it's exactly the same.
Yeah. The next question from Thomas that I wanted to share and that could be useful to everybody is, as might have more than one role. So I could be a voter and a secretary. How can I switch my role? And I think you don't have to switch your role, right, Dorothée?
No, you don't. It's automatic. The system will always take the strongest role, right? So while we are doing member commenting, the voter role is stronger, let's say, than the secretary role, because as a secretary, you'll only have read access if you're not also a voter. As soon as we are in the drafting stages, your send voter role, it's still there, but it only gives you read access, whereas your secretary role makes you a leader. So the system is smart and will know which role you have, so you don't have to switch. Let's go to Christina's question. Another problem in our SB, national experts are not entitled to enter the OSD text. If they want to vote in the national ballot approval, attaching comments with the commenting template at national level, the system does not allow to upload the template at national level, and the system does not accept their vote. So the national secretary cannot receive the vote from the national experts. So what we are showing here is not about voting, and I think it's very confusing because we have a voter role. But the OSD is only there for commenting. So that means your national experts, if they are registered in the GD, they will be able to go into the OSD and enter their comments. They are not able to cast a vote because that's not their role. All they're allowed to do is comment. Right? So whatever means or system that you had previously to determine what vote your experts recommend, you still need to use that, because here we are only changing the way that you submit the comments. Before you were submitting the comments in a Word file, now you are submitting comments through the OSD, but the voting process in itself remains the same. And Linda is asking, how can I make the comments final in an OSD with the comments file in Word? Let me again do some quick preparation here. I will just remove all the comments that I've uploaded just to make sure I don't have anything weird, because I haven't really looked at whether or not what I'm doing makes sense. Right, okay, so I don't have any comments left. So if I now load the comments from the file, I choose the file, it's this one. Getting slower every time I'm doing it. I apologize. I think the system is getting confused and thinking, why are you giving me the same file 50 times? So instead of just clicking import valid rows here, there is the little box here, submit all imported comments as national comments. So if I do that, I import these valid rows and I go back, then I can click as much as I want. I won't see them because I'm filtered in unmanaged. If I now take the submitted as national, you will actually see, oh, sorry, this one is the one that Thomas had put in. And this is, was it? There. So if you remember my two great examples of comments, so you'll see that I have uploaded the comments here. They're immediately national. No, sorry, this one is the one I just imported. And again, you can still move it like we did before. You can still edit it, but it's automatically submitted as national. So it's just a little bit dangerous, if I want to, if I can say it like that, because you are, whatever you submitted as national means at the ballot close is going to be shared with everyone. So you just need to make sure that you still go through all of them and make sure that they make sense.
I'm trying to have a look if there are questions where we could do a quick demo. Because we have a lot of feedback that so we will also get the report and we will analyze all the feedback received in the Q&A. So don't worry about that, but I'm checking.
So maybe I'm just looking at Anna's question. I may have already answered it, but I just want to make sure we are answering it clearly. So Anna's saying there's a procedure needed for approval of every comment as a national comment. And how can the members of the national committee approve every comment? Is it possible through the OSD? No. So as Estelle showed, there's different roles, right? So if you are a committee member of a national committee that is mapped in the global directory to the TC, then as a committee member, you can only enter the comments. You cannot do anything else. Now, if you are the secretary of that national committee, you can then go through and approve these comments. So the national committee secretary and the national committee secretary support team of those national mirror committees assigned in the GD map to the CEN committee, those people can approve it. So you could say if you have 3 different national committees that are commenting here, you could tell each of the secretaries, all right, take a look at what your members said and go and tell me if this is a good comment, not a good comment, approve or not approve. But yes, there is an approval required because I think if there wasn't an approval required, people would not be happy either because you don't want to just submit the comments from all the experts without reviewing them first.
I think so there are feedback regarding PDF proposal. There are feedback also about the automatic closure for automatic posing of comments. So that we are seeing and that we will discuss internally. But maybe we can take 1 or 2 last question. What is the best trick maybe from Bjorn? Yeah.
I was just going to say, so Bjorn is asking if I have many, many comments, and typically I think this would happen mostly when you do an import from file, right? Because you may have 10, 15 comments for something inside clause 4.1, and they will all be uploaded and shown as if they were here. Is there a trick? Not really. I think the best is, as you say, just click on it, and you will see them sort of one over the other. You can also use the comments to resolve because damn it, I don't have any anymore that haven't been resolved.
Don't import a file again.
No, I'm just doing a test here. Sorry. So, all right. If you go into the comments to resolve, you can see that they are going to be grouped by clause. So you can also go through them here and say, oh, okay, this one I want, I don't want. But it is true that it can definitely cause you a problem when you've got 20, 30, 50 comments on the same clause. But I think it's manageable because you can you can always use these buttons to click up and down. So it will, if you position your cursor here and then click down, it will click one after the other through it'll open one after the other every single comment.
And maybe the last question, after National Secretary approved the comments, are they sent to CEN? They are sent to, what is sent to CEN is the comments that are made national at ballot closure, because you can still make a comment national and then change your mind if the ballot is still open. No? But yes, if the comment is made national, so is appearing in green on your screen, then they will be sent to CEN and available for resolution to the working group. I will use maybe Ineke feedback question to maybe conclude. And for the rest, we receive all your questions, so we will address them separately. But she was mentioning that now it's all about practicing, and I think that's also all new for all of us within CEN. And as you've seen, we have 8 project upcoming, not hundreds of projects. So everybody at some point will be involved with the OSD, but it's not going to be a tsunami at once. So it's important to know that you have training sessions, you have tutorials, you have a training deck, you have the ISO knowledge base, and you can contact us if you have any question. It's going to be a smooth process and a smooth transition, because drafting a standard takes time. So you don't have thousands of standards doing their inquiry in OSD all at once. So you will get a chance to practice within the tool, and we will also get a chance to improve. So please don't be worried. It's going to be smooth and it's going to go well, and we will support you all along the process. And I think that can conclude the session today. So thank you. You will get a short feedback poll, so you can tell us how you felt the webinar was. And it's important for us to improve for the second session and also for the future session we'll organize. But it was really a pleasure to present it and to get so much questions, interesting questions today. So thank you all. So I think we will leave the feedback poll open a bit, and then we can close the webinar.
Yes, thank you, Estelle. You exactly said what I was going to say, so
Oh,
thanks for
sorry.
that. That's okay. And thank you, Dorothée, for the extensive demonstrations on the tool itself. It was very interesting, very detailed. I think the audience is happy, so very good. And indeed, I would propose to leave the poll open for a while so that at least the majority of attendees have replied. As promised in the beginning, the webinar has been recorded, so the recording will be shared with the audience as well as the presentation. And then for a later follow-up, we will complete with the Q&A report. So thank you very much and have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.